Welcome, everybody, to Breaching the Boardroom. I am your host, David Morrow. And in the studio today, we have Joe Callums, who is the president and CEO of United Electrical, also very involved with NECA, the National Electrical Contractors Association, a Comstock Award winner, inducted into their hall, and has various other accolades, as well as prior leaders at United Electrical, being very involved in the community, in their industry, and as a thought leaders. Joe, welcome to the studio, sir.
Oh, thank you, David. I really appreciate the invitation and glad to have the opportunity to sit down and talk.
Yeah, I mean, I will tell you, I'm kind of a DIY guy around my house. The one thing I don't touch is electrical. So have a lot of respect for things that can kill me. So that is one of them.
Yeah.
And you do more than just service your clients. You obviously have big names as some of your clients, some of your project work. You know, your website is incredible. You guys have been doing this a long time, but the thought leadership that you provide in your industry and really, you know, um, really driving and sharing those best practices and policies with everyone. I mean, that is just in any industry, that's phenomenal. So I just wanted to kind of give you some accolades there. It's really, really incredible.
Thank you
Um,
so much.
no, I mean, tell us about United Electrical. Tell us what you guys do generally, and then I want to back into your origin story and how you got there.
Okay. Well, yeah, United Electric, we've been around since 1957 and started with a company, just GE. They had an appliance park here back in the day and kind of started in that world and really grew into a lot of different facets and over the years through the chemical plants to the automotive world and spent a lot of time in the automotive space. And we're proud to say one of our closest and most amazing clients that we do service is Ford Motor Company, and we've done a lot of work for them all over. But throughout the years, we've kind of had a spread of our wings a little bit. We are headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky, but we also have another location in Cincinnati, Ohio. Proudly built the Cincinnati Bengals Stadium. Proudly built the FC
Oh,
Cincinnati Stadium.
that's
Uh,
phenomenal. Been to both of
it's
those. Great stadiums.
they are
That's exciting.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of great memories there. Well, the FC Cincinnati Stadium was a challenge. We built that in
Mhm.
COVID, so that was a
Must have
fun
been.
time for everything. But yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of our work really focuses around the industrial side here in the Kentucky headquarters, but in Cincinnati it's more commercial, heavy commercial space. But it's allowed us to not only grow in a lot of different areas, but it also has allowed us to develop our next future leadership as well as our customer base. And very proud of everything we've done from, like I mentioned, Ford Motor Company, and we're just now finishing up the Ford Blue Oval here in Glendale, Kentucky, and put all the process equipment in one building of 4 million square feet. So it was an interesting adventure.
So you guys lay all of the, I mean, I'm thinking these massive manufacturing facilities,
Hmm.
huge corporate parks, huge like stadiums, and you guys lay all of the electrical, like the really heavy stuff. It's not just when we think of residential electrical. That stuff's
Uh,
pretty small. Like this is really heavy duty and really intricate.
no, for sure. It's full power that's gonna run from a conveyor system to the scoreboard. It's everything in between. But yeah, all the power to everywhere, every single piece of equipment, which was in such as the Blue Oval, the battery plant. So at peak there, we had 942 electricians on site getting the
That's
job done.
massive. That's massive.
Yeah.
That's a massive amount of just engineering capability in one location. How did you, I mean, I could tell how you became a leader. You're very clear, precise in your language. It's
Hmm.
good. Obviously, surrounded yourself with great people. When did you know you wanted to become an electrician, focus on this industry, go into leadership? When did you know? Like, wasn't there a time when you wanted to be a fireman as a kid, or Superman or Batman or something?
Yeah. I'd say as a kid, I'm a soccer guy and I wanted to be a professional
Yeah.
soccer player, and that didn't work out. So I found myself going to school to be a child psychologist. So I was a soccer coach and actually was a daycare center teacher in high school.
I've
Uh,
coached soccer, and child psychology is a great major for that sport. That's
it's
great.
perfect. Yeah, there's nothing better
Yeah.
than 18-year-olds. But I kind of went the pathway child psychology, and then realized in college that maybe that wasn't the path. So I followed a public relations and interpersonal communications degree, which led me into following and working for UPS. And I was an account executive for them. And then all of a sudden, I got an opportunity to go to NECA, the National Electrical Contractors Association, as an assistant chapter manager back in 2001, and then rode that career for 20 years. And I worked my way through the ranks of NECA and NECA nationally, and oversaw the eastern side of the United States. And I felt that there was always another, chapter in my book, and had an opportunity with United Electric to come over to be their president and CEO back in 2020 of all times, and took the leap. And it's been a great opportunity for me. I've been seeing tremendous growth, not only just myself, but my employees and our company. And we've been able to do things that we never thought we could, but it's allowed me to see where we are and where we can go. It's I call it to infinity and beyond. So we'll see. World domination.
That's phenomenal. So interesting. I was just assuming because
Hmm.
you head up an electrical company that you
Hmm.
came through the ranks as an electrician, like it was in your blood. Your grandfather was an electrician, you learned the
No.
trade, etc.
Yeah.
So interesting. So
Yeah.
you really made the transition. It was really leadership first, and then learned the association, learned all of the best practices, all of that, and then brought that to an individual organization.
Yes, exactly. So my background is contract negotiations, labor relations, and the electrical
Uh,
field. So I understand that piece of it. On the
One of the hardest
table,
jobs of leading your organization, I imagine, right?
exactly right. So that's
Yeah,
a key piece of that, because we're a union company,
right.
and across the table is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
Of course.
So we constantly work and manage those relationships. But yeah, that was my background, and transitioning to the contractor side. To your point, it is a leadership standpoint. You do need to pay attention to the details, but you also got to have the right players on the field. Back to my coaching days, you got to have 11 players, and not all of them are going to be the goal scorers. And so that's the way I approach this job, the same way.
When you wanted to be a professional soccer player, did you get injured? Or you got injured when you were playing in an older league? Is that what you
No,
shared with me earlier?
yeah.
Maybe I'm
So,
sharing things I shouldn't be sharing. I'm
oh
sorry.
no, it's okay. It was the end of my
I mean to
coaching and
violate
playing career.
your HIPAA rights. Don't
So
have the
no,
union contact me, please.
yeah, that was. I have an identical twin brother, and I was coming
That's
through to stop and see him, and he was at his over 40 adult league championship game, and said, "Come watch." And 2018, decided to come and watch. They said, "Hey, do you play?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And next thing I know, I tear an ACL. And so after 40 years of playing and 25 years of coaching, I officially retired in 2018. So,
yeah, that's
and
such a heartbreak. But you got
yeah,
to do some other very cool things. Last year, I saw you were down in Daytona, and why don't you share that story where you got to announce the race, which is pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So just
Now
last
I see
month,
the PR part of you, like in the interpersonal relations. Like now it's all making sense.
yeah, you work.
Because at first I was like, man, this electrical guy, like electrical guy is really, really dynamic. He's a great speaker. Like it's amazing. And now I get it. So
I try. So I try definitely. So yeah, I was. This was actually last month at the Daytona 500 weekend, and I was there as guest of United Rentals. And but the week before, they called me and said, "Hey, we have the United Rentals 300 race on Saturday before the 500. Would you like to be the grand marshal and announce drivers start your engines?"
how
And
cool is that? That's amazing.
it was more amazing than I even anticipated, for the
Yeah.
simple fact I got down there and realizing I didn't know I was going to be on TV.
Oh wow.
Uh,
Yeah.
I didn't know I was going to be saying "driver start your engines" in front of 100,000 people.
Oh,
But it was neat and got to one of those bucket lists that you didn't think you ever had. And it was a tremendous honor.
yeah, it
And
wasn't even on the bucket list until they asked you. And then you're like, I'm going to add that and then check
yeah,
that one off right away.
yeah, put that right out there. But no, the
Yeah.
great thing about that was it not only allowed United Electric to be in the front of the world. Everyone heard United Electric heard about Joe Kellums, but it's also given us opportunities for our customer base, for our employees. We have a lot of employees that have used it as a stepping stone and/or an avenue to open a door. For a lot of people, love racing, and so I have looked at this as it's paid me back tenfold already, and it's only a month after the event.
That's just fantastic. And what was it like to speak in front of that many people? I mean, I always read how the greatest fear of Americans is public speaking, number one.
Hmm.
Number two is death. Death is number two. And I'm like, seriously, just get up and talk. Like, I'm like, you, so at a funeral,
Yeah,
you'd rather be like in the casket than giving a eulogy. Like, I don't get it. Like, it's just talking. Like, there's, even if
yeah,
no one's listening, even if you don't do well, you're still healthy. So
yeah. Very true.
what was that like? Like, it must have been a thrill or nerve
It,
wracking.
it was a thrill. Public speaking, I'm very gifted in the gab side of it. I've done a lot of public speaking. So I looked at it going into it that this is the same way as talking at a
Mm-hmm.
graduation to, a couple
Yep.
few hundred people or 1,000. And then I also made sure that I didn't look around stand of the stadium because, or excuse me, the speedway because there's so much to take in. And so I had a cue card. I had a guy that's telling me to go, but then when I took it all in at the end, I just said, wow.
Yeah.
I said, driver, start your engines. Then you hear the engines. Then I looked up and it was just,
And
wow.
then you see everything, and then it's like the lights
Yeah.
come on, everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
That's
pretty cool.
phenomenal. So let me ask you, leadership philosophy. I've been having some phenomenal conversations with people in your chair. And I'm always interested in how they get people to be accountable and to be effective, to get stuff done, and yet create a positive culture, right? Rather than managing by fear or something like that. Like, so many people themselves get afraid or are driven by fear or anxiety. And so then they lash out at people that they're managing, and then it hurts the culture. You do a good job of that. How do you do that?
That's a really good question, David, because, I think as a leader, you have to make sure you remember that the other individuals in the room have a thought process that they're going through, and they might not align with what you're looking for. But my goal is every time is to sit in is I just want to listen. And it's the
Mhm.
art of listening. And I respect the individual from what they're taking, their approach. But more importantly is that even if their true pathway doesn't align with my vision, I want to make sure that we walk through and talk the steps of how in a corrective manner and or collaborative manner. So when I get my groups and sitting down and we're talking out loud, I want them to actually feel that they can add to the conversation. And so I work the room. I make sure I listen and watch. And first impressions is everything with me. Give me 15 seconds. I'm going to decide where the conversations is going to go and things. And so I just make sure that everyone feels that they can add something to the conversation. I will say prior to coming to United and the concept, I felt we had some silos and things that were going on and breaking down those barriers. But what I've also done is empowered people to make decisions. And so I've been very fortunate. I have a next group of leaders that I've identified over the last couple of years, and they are really taking the reins and taking direction as well as bringing a lot to the table. But my door is always open. Every single
Mhm.
day I'll have people walk in and we just sit and talk. We sit and talk and listen and just want to make sure that they know that they can take it to the next level, but have an open mind to the fact is that if it doesn't align, we can all work through it. It's done. I'm not going to brag too much on myself. I'm probably something going to happen here when I walk off out the room.
Always does.
But yeah, right now we're really working on all cylinders right now. We got a
That's
lot of
great.
creative minds, a lot of people thinking outside the box. You know, when I talk to them, I want forward thinkers, outside the box, someone that's going to look at a problem and come up with a resolution instead of sit in my office and say, "What do you want me to do?"
Literally my next two or three questions you just blew through, because that's what I wanted to ask. Like, when you look back and you've selected a great team member and a year goes
Mm-hmm.
by, man, they are so solid. I'm so glad I believed in them,
Mm-hmm.
developed them, etc. Like, what are some of the qualities that will cause you to feel that way about them? That's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah. So the qualities
I
for
think you
me,
just started answering it.
yeah, I was going right down the road there.
Yeah.
You know, that outside the box is forward thinkers, these individuals that want to make their team better.
Mm.
Well, the biggest thing that I ask them is, what can I give you to help this for your next steps? What is it you need from me personally and from the corporate standpoint to make you better? And I challenge people too. I every year I go around and I talk to them and I tell you, become an expert at something.
Hmm.
And they ask me, what is that? What do you want me to be an expert at? I said, it doesn't matter. Become an expert at something. Something that you feel that you do the best and that you can help others. And they look at me and then they go, I get it. I was like, if I've got to tell you what to be an expert at, then we're going to sit back and reevaluate what you really feel you need to go into. So it's funny. I threw that. It's a simple task. It's like simply like,
Hmm.
take a 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and you tell someone to fold it in half twice.
Hmm.
You know how many people ask you, how do you want me to fold it? It's the craziest thing. And
Right.
so with my little simple line that I've given them here, the simple small challenge, it's amazing how many of my employees have come back and they become an expert in something. And it might not be electrically driven. They might have become an expert in team building. They might have been
Right.
able
It might be a process that you guys have or
doesn't
something, right?
doesn't matter. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But that's what I look for people. I look for the drive. I look for the excitement in their eyes. I look at them wanting to bring back to me to show me, here's what I've created. Look what we're doing here. And so we've got one process we developed here just from an accounts receivable standpoint, and I have a great accounts receivable manager. But he came up with this process from a collection side and working as a team. And so it's now we're building off of it and we're spreading it amongst all of our groups. And just last week, it was meeting with our Cincinnati group and taking the individual from one area, brought him
Yeah.
into a meeting with another group. He got to show everything and lead the discussion and to watch his eyes and watch how he was proud of what he did. But then
Yeah,
his
it's
coach,
like he had developed he needs to write a book at this point. Like it's like he
100%.
developed his framework, right?
Yeah.
And he's developed his framework and now he's sharing it. And there's
Hmm.
no better way, in my experience, there's no better way of learning any inconsistencies or weakness in your theory and then bolstering that and shoring it up than trying to explain it to people, right? Trying to teach it to other people is really where you actually learn it the best.
Yeah, exactly. You go back to your soccer days and my soccer days and talk about and the coaching side of it, and you're going to make this person realize where they are best on the field.
Yeah.
So they might think they are the starting striker right up front. They're going to score all
Yeah,
the
there's
goals,
always ego. There's always ego.
but they end up being the best center back that's on the team.
Right.
But to get that navigational way to get that in their head, it takes a little bit. But then it's the same coaching concept that I do here. It's a coaching teaching moment. I use that a
Mhm.
lot, and I think everyone takes that back to their teams and uses it as a coaching teaching moment. Because back to how you started, I mean, you can come out and be this dictator, micromanage. You can run yourself into the ground, but all that does is kill the culture. It kills any success of growing. You're going to stay in this box, this circle, and that's the way you're going to be.
Yeah, micromanaging is really one of my pet peeves because it really shows people are becoming a manager rather than a leader because they're
Hmm.
choosing to spend their time on subordinates metrics. Like, then you have to fix your hiring process, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Like, you need to trust your people, empower them, give them the tools, and then check in on the metrics quickly, right? Like, they should be pretty close if you hired correctly, right? And you
Ex-
gave them the tools. Like, you shouldn't have to be, like if you're spending your time there, first of all, as a leader, don't you want to Don't you want to do things more strategic and less
For sure.
custodial than like micromanaging your subordinates? Doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it's a lose-lose scenario.
Yeah.
You're never going to get past go, and so that's what's great about it. When you find the right people, but then you also have to be able to adjust on the fly. You've got to pay
Mhm.
attention that that individual might not be the best in that position, but they could be really
Yeah,
great in
it could be
another.
wrong seat. Wrong seat on the bus, as James Collins talks about in
Hmm.
I think it was Good to Great or Built to Last, one of his books there. He always talks about like you can have somebody that's good for culture, good for the organization, even if they're not working out, they still may be valuable to the company. Let's see what other seats are open and maybe we move them over there, right? Like you
Exactly
just never
right.
know. And if not, then they have to get off.
Yeah, exactly
You
right.
mentioned something really important, and that is, you know, when people provide feedback, having that feedback loop is key. But just complaining this process is broken and this isn't working, we don't do this and we don't
Hmm.
do, like, but pointing that out with a proposed solution,
For
like,
sure.
isn't that key? Like, isn't that to have people that are like, hey, this isn't working, but here's an idea. Even if everybody decides not to do that idea, coming to you with an idea, like so many leaders, they're looking for, and like they want to hear all the ideas from all of their team. Would
No,
you
this
agree
is
with that? Does that make sense?
100% I agree with that. I actually just had a conversation this week. Same concept of that. Okay, I hear what you're saying. I hear that you think this isn't going to, but I want to hear what your ideas are. Put something down
Yeah.
on paper, work through it, come up with a plan, come up with a business model, business plan that you think that you can make this better. And I had those two conversations this week, and one was in one direction, and the other was the other. But I had both of them sit back and go, okay, I see what you're saying. And
Wow.
especially out of one of them, I came back and now I have a whole brand new process to
Yeah.
monitor our vehicles and all this other stuff. And
Yeah. It
we,
helps, right?
yeah, I
Like,
did.
well,
But
and
they,
and then it's something that helps develop them. Like as they move up in the company, you're like, they were one of the leaders and the creators of this initiative that we do. Like
exactly
it's a
right.
great thing.
Well, you
Yeah.
can take a negative and then
Right.
you can take it and spin it into a direction that becomes a positive for the individual.
Yeah.
Because it goes back to the leadership side of it. If you're thinking it's going to spin it in, it's going to make you look better, you're doing it for all the wrong reasons. If
Right.
you can spin it in to make the individual see that wow, they are valuable, they are value added, they came up with this process, we're better than we were yesterday. And my whole team from this one idea that we changed this week, my whole office here, everyone has got this positive vibe about we fixed this. We were going into a different direction. We got a lot of resources that are now being freed up, and it's just wonderful to see. But I could have taken it a different direction. I could have come in and beat the stick. I could have been pointing fingers. You stink, you stink, you stink. And today
Well,
we would have nothing.
right. Well, and look, there are times when authority plays a role. Like there are some like
100%.
some decisions that are just like, hey, we want to go this way, they want to go this way. Somebody's got to be the judge and like set the rule. Like, and so, you know,
There are times if
yeah.
that's the balance of leadership.
Yeah.
There's the times you make the decision, there's a collaborative decision as well. But the times you make decisions, you got to lead. You got to make that decision at a split second at times. It goes back to coaching, same thing.
Hmm.
You might have like seconds to make a decision on what's going on in that specific moment. But when you're at the practice field, you can make a decision of collaborative approach and get something done.
Let me ask you about mentorship. As you were developing in leadership roles, regardless of
Mm.
industry, did you seek mentors, have mentors for certain things? What can you share about that?
I did. Over my career, I'm very fortunate. I play this kind of role of it's relationship driven for me. It's about who you know and how you develop those relationships. And I've had a few people over my career that have taken me under their wing, have given me some great advice. I have some really great close friends today that I can call literally about anything. And I get an honest answer back. So I wouldn't be where I am today without mentors, some people that were not, they separated the friendship side to a mentorship side, and that's what's really helped me
Yeah.
grow for
Yeah, and
sure.
I always find a good mentor will have the truthful conversations with you,
Yeah,
right? Like they'll be like, "Look, you're I don't know what to tell you. You can keep going down this path, but if you do,
yeah,
it seems like this could happen, right? Like, is
yeah,
that what you're wanting?" And then you're like, "Well, no." And so
yeah,
then you're like, "Well, what other options are there?" And they help you kind of find the answer. Plus,
yeah,
good mentors have been through those steps
for
before you,
sure. Yeah,
you know?
I've got a few that I keep on a regular call, and it's a easy access because it's both goes both ways. I get
Yeah,
the same calls
exactly.
and the same things, but I'm very fortunate to have
But you've
several.
also had a twin brother where you can bounce ideas off of, right?
Yeah, so that's a very good point. He's probably my number one mentor. It's odd to
That's
say that as a
interesting.
twin,
Yeah.
but my brother has been in the automotive industry, running his companies for many years, and we have an open relationship from the standpoint we got the brother discussion, but then we have the business discussion, and we have business discussion probably 2 or 3 times a week, and everything's on the table. And so
That's
I have
fantastic.
looked at my
That's
brother as a close mentor of mine for probably a solid 15 years. And we just talked last night. So we threw it on the table, and he walks me through his thoughts, and then I give him my thoughts, and then we come up with a resolution.
that's fantastic. Joe, I mean, that's incredible. What's on the horizon for you, for United in the next quarter or the next year? Doing any public speaking? I saw you were out in San Diego last year giving a presentation. Are you doing any of that this year? Or is it still
So
being formulated?
still being formulated. I'm looking to put on a presentation. I just did one at we have a peer group called Federated Electrical Contractors.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did some public speaking, our presentation on United and what we did and where we are. That was last month. And then we're looking for another presentation probably in the fall. But from the standpoint for me as where United is going, we're chasing still a lot of this Ford work. So we're looking at the battery plant, hybrid plant for Ford up in Michigan right now. And we are trying to figure out and navigate where that goes. But there's a lot more work up there. But then locally here, we got a lot of local work from Ford, a lot of work in utility, a lot of work in our chemical plants. It seems ironic. Construction is a roller coaster. I mean, it appears
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's literally we're at the top of the roller coaster, just keep going. And then it comes down and meet and kind of the balances out. Right now, we're on the upward swing. So there's a ton of work out there, a lot of great things. We're looking to strengthen our team. I'm looking to hire some more great people, some great additions to what we are. But between big work, there's a lot of big work out there, and we're fortunate enough to be a part of all that. Developed some great relationships with some general contractors this year. I've already checked the list. I've developed 3 more great relationships, which is excellent. And yeah,
That's
we're
excellent.
plugging and moving in the right direction.
That's fantastic. And where do you guys sit? How many employees do you have currently,
Currently, we're right
roughly?
around 800 right now total.
It's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
last year as we rode that battery wave and battery peak, so we hit about 1,500 at our peak at that time. But yeah, looking to keep going right direction for sure. My thing I said earlier is that I've found that next group, and that's in the field and in the office, and I've got a lot of forward thinkers, some outside the box type people that are really wanting to take us to the next level, willing to go anywhere for us. We are currently working in 4 states right now, and I've got individuals that'll go with me anywhere. And when you have that with some vision, I mean,
That's
it's do
like
whatever
the
it
sky's
takes.
the limit then.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So really excited.
Well, if anybody knows anybody interested in the field, go to the careers page, I imagine,
Hmm.
United Electric, and we will have those links in the show notes as well. Joe, man, I wish you guys all the best. I'm going to watch from the stands and just see your further development. This is a great American company. It's a great organization with thought leadership in the industry. Like you're checking all the boxes. It's just great. I really appreciate you taking time to hear me out and let me babble and ask some questions.
No, this is great, David. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Definitely excited to be a part of it and humbled as well.
Well, thank you so much, sir. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you all soon.